So everybody, meet Ed.
What's going on, everyone? How you doing?
I'm doing good so far. How are you? You ready for today?
I'm doing well. Yep.
Okay. So Ed, anyway, thank you so much for coming out today and meeting with me and going over all the questions that the town submitted.
Yep. Thanks for having me. Thanks for
Of
doing
course. So, first off, let me ask, what inspired you to run?
Well, I think after the May meeting, when they didn't replace Heather Cheeseman, I was really concerned about that. I thought that was not a very good thing for the community, especially for our first responders, because that's the department that she oversaw. And I know, after thinking about it, I know I have the professional experience, both in Trenton and the community-based experience here to make a difference and to help solve some of the problems that we're facing.
All right, and we're going to get into it. You ready?
Yep.
Here we go. Okay, so the city runs on 3 commissioners, a small professional staff, and many volunteers. How will you make sure those elected officials, staff, and volunteer organizations work together effectively?
Communication is key on this. Without communication, things get muddled. Events get, there's competition with events. There's information that's not disseminated correctly. So I think communication is paramount for that.
And how will you keep residents informed and involved?
Making any information available on the website. We have the app now, so we can disseminate information quickly if we need to. We have the Nixle at our disposal as well. And I'd also like to bring back the maybe quarterly or monthly newsletter that we used to do.
Oh, okay.
I know I found it important and useful. So
When did they stop that?
I think 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. All right. So that would be a good thing to bring back.
I would also say the making it online and in paper.
Oh, okay.
Because there are a lot of younger people in town that use it online, but we still do have an older population that may not necessarily have access to
That's
social
true.
media. So
That's true. You have people out there, maybe they can't afford Wi-Fi.
correct. Yeah.
So please explain how you'll handle disagreements on the commission while keeping the city's best interests first.
Well, I think listening is paramount. If we can't listen to each other, see where the other person's coming from, that's going to be a real struggle if we don't listen. You listen first, and you come to the table. You start finding the middle ground, and that's where Bordentown's best interests lie.
Yep. And how will you keep? Oh, sorry, I'm on the wrong one. Duh. Okay. How will you ensure underrepresented voices are heard, and where are vote? Oh, yeah. How will you make sure underrepresented voices are heard?
I think making ourselves accessible through having our information available if anybody needs to contact us. I think also including having the newsletter go out does cover some of that population. But yeah, just making ourselves available. We're always here to help. So
Yeah.
if you need us, just give us a ring.
And can you tell everybody how they can find your platform and campaign information, like website, social media?
Sure. So I do have a campaign website. It's foleyforbordentown.com. I also have a Facebook, Foley for City Commission, and a Instagram, Foley for Bordentown.
Okay. And can voters find lawn signs or other ways to support your campaign there
Sure.
too?
They can message me. I'll be happy to drop them off.
Okay. All right. With limited resources and recent school budget shortfalls, how will you balance fiscal responsibility while meeting residents' needs, like taxes, essential services?
Sure. Well, I think prioritizing our projects and our priorities is the first way to go. Looking where we can tweak things, maybe do things better at a less impactful cost. Yeah.
Okay. Now, can you name your top priority for Bordentown over the next 3 years and specific steps and funding strategies?
Well, for me, it always has and always will be public safety. As you know, and some people may know, I was a volunteer firefighter for a decade, so I know the struggles that particularly our fire department and our police department are experience on the day-to-day. Grants are always a good opportunity, but also we can find other partners elsewhere. We can do that too.
And can you be explicit about whether you support selling the water utility to New Jersey American Water or other similar places, and why?
No, I wouldn't support that at this point in time. I know, at least for me, watching everything going on in the news about PSE&G and other electrical and gas increased prices, I'm very cautious about selling a public utility, only because you're not necessarily going to have accountability if you sell it.
Yeah.
And I'm also concerned about the price adjustment for some folks. We pay quarterly right now, but depending on what happens, we may be spending monthly what we're paying quarterly, depending on usage.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I would be very concerned about that.
That's not something I know too much about, New Jersey American Water, so
Okay.
that's something I'm going to have to look up too. So I think the first time I really heard about it was, under these questions on Facebook. So I didn't even know that was on the table. So public safety is a top concern, from speeding and traffic safety to police responsiveness. What specific fundable actions would you take to improve police service and daily safety?
Well, I think, first and foremost with the speeding, I think that's most visible for a lot of residents. I know one of the questions had talked about if given this magic amount of money, what would we spend it on?
Oh, that is the next question.
I think.
Now, Ed, you're getting ahead of me.
Sorry. First off, I think it's equipment.
Yeah.
From what I understand now, we don't have a reliable equipment for the police to do the job that everyone wants them to do.
Mm-hmm.
So if we invest in the equipment, and then hopefully things will change. We'll notice less speeding and go from there.
So that was the next question is, if given $25,000 today to advance your public safety plan, how would you spend it and what would your success look like?
Well, first off, the equipment for police, radios, radar equipment. We also have to do, for the fire department.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, it is critical. Hopefully, I would prefer to use some of that for volunteer outreach and equipment. I know that the city recently started restoring the budget for the fire department. So
that's good.
We can get that too.
Okay, so here come the tough ones. Oh boy. Sidewalk repairs, abandoned vacant properties, such as the former gas station at Farnsworth and 130, the Ocean Spray site, and downtown parking are frequent concerns. So how will you ensure timely sidewalk repairs and also clarify homeowner versus city responsibility?
Well, I know the gas station at that light, 130 in Farnsworth, is the township. I know it may give us a little bit of a blight because it's not well taken care of. But with the sidewalks, I know the city recently has or is in the process of compiling a inventory of the sidewalks. First off, I would triage them. If they're crumbling, those would be the first to be repaired. I know, and if they can be shaved, I think that would be a long way to make it both safe and cost efficient.
You're talking about, I know I saw up on Farnsworth.
Correct. So far, I think Farnsworth and Crosswicks have seen those sidewalk shaved,
Yeah.
and it does make a difference.
I live on Farnsworth,
Yes.
and I fell on Farnsworth
Yeah.
a couple years ago, and I'll have to say it definitely does make a difference.
Yeah, and I know, how are you going to fund this, Ed? I know
Yeah.
the DOT, the city is very fortunate to always apply for a DOT grant for the roadway repair and all that. There are sidewalk-specific grants, from my understanding, that the DOT does offer. So if we can apply for them too, it'll help alleviate some of the city's burden on funding them.
Okay. And how will you bring problem properties back into productive use, also while addressing environmental or vandalism issues?
Well, I know, so the biggest derelict properties, I guess, for us would be the Ocean Spray, the Clare State Building. I know there's the planning board, when I was on it, they adopted a redevelopment, an area in need of redevelopment along the highway between Retro and the hotel.
Yeah.
And then I know, based from what I've heard at city meetings, the city is in court for five derelict properties. So if we get control of them, we could sell them to someone who's willing to fix them up, and they'll become tax-generating properties again.
I mean, it's tough because it's not like the township where we have all these
the room,
spaces
correct.
and the room to develop and build. You know.
And so fortunately for us, the development would be on the peripheral of the downtown. So
All right,
just as important, but
yeah. And here comes a tough one.
Mhm.
How will you solve the parking shortage? And do you support parking meters, paid parking? If not, what are some alternatives?
Well, I know when I was on economic development from 2018 to 2022, so that's through Deputy Mayor Brodowski's tenure and Mayor Jen's tenure as Director of Finance and Revenue. We've talked about parking quite frequently. And then we just had that meeting maybe last month, I think, or 2 months ago, where they put forward their ideas just to get everyone's reaction. For me personally, I think increasing the supply by partnering with private lots, and particularly on economic development, where we were talking about somehow adding the 3rd Street lot, incorporating that.
Oh, the one right behind Thompson?
Yes.
Okay.
Incorporating that to maybe an overflow. We also, thankfully, we have the signs now for the train station. Just have to make some minor safety improvements to that. So I think that'll help.
Yeah.
And the one thing I agree with from that meeting, with the parking solutions, it's going to be done incrementally. I would agree with that. If we do something in stage 1 and it seems to be working well enough, we may not have to go to stage 2.
Okay.
So to answer your question about the parking meters, it's not my first choice, and it's more than likely will probably be my last choice if we have no other option.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be tough on Farnsworth to do because,
And then the overflow on the resident.
Well, that, and you have people who live there on Farnsworth.
Yeah.
So I don't, know how that would work out. That's what I didn't
So
understand.
for example, I know the city passed an ordinance to update the city lot to 3-hour parking,
Okay.
and then make it a right only, out onto Farnsworth.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with the right only part, but we might have jumped the gun on making it 3-hour. So the goal for that was to get people's cars that have been there for days or weeks or months out,
Yeah.
and so that the public works can clean with the sweeper. I think maybe if we incorporated the parking lot into one of the Farnsworth or 2nd Street sweeper schedule, make it for a time when the residents are more than likely going to be at work and the businesses aren't yet open yet. So that'll minimize.
Okay, so you're saying add that lot to the sweeper schedule.
Correct.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So you're getting rid of the cars that stay there forever. Plus, it's not going to be as impactful on residents.
I never thought of that. That's a good idea. So how will you balance new development with preserving Bordentown's historic character and affordability for current residents?
Well, I know, like I said previously, most of our developable. I'm going to stutter on this word. Developmentable properties like Ocean Spray, Clare Estates, that lot in between Retro and the hotel, that's all on the highway. So it shouldn't have too much of an impact on the historical character of the town.
Okay.
But definitely, no matter what happens, the change is going to have to go through the planning board. It's going to have to go through the city commissioners. So there's going to be plenty of time for resident input too, which I think will help guide everybody to a satisfactory outcome.
Describe community building initiatives you would start or expand to strengthen civic ties, such as parks and rec programs, historic preservation commission, public events.
Well, I think the police department has brought back Coffee with a Cop. I'd like to see if we can expand that every month.
I saw that. Was that Turtle Beans was
Turtle
doing that,
Beans,
right?
and then the next one's coming up, I think, at the new coffee shop.
Smachna?
Smachna,
Oh,
yes.
okay, good.
I think it's next week, I think. And he'll also incorporate coffee with a firefighter, stuff like that.
That is a good idea.
Get to meet your public volunteers and stuff. I would also personally, we have on Friday we have the movie coming up at Point Breeze.
Oh, Beetlejuice, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would as a movie buff, I would prefer. I would really like to have we could do a movie in a park, and rotate it each park at a different time, so we can.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah,
Each
I like
neighborhood
that.
can have their own.
It's nice to have the outdoor movies.
Yes.
Yeah. And what about the cats in town? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Also, too, the police did bring back the baseball cards.
I saw that.
So the residents groups, one of the things that we talked with the chief about when we did meet was bringing back, coffee with a cop, bringing back the cars, because it does help, especially with a lot, our police force isn't the same police force that was here when I was growing up. So there's a lot of people that don't know our police, and it's a good way to, bridge the gap.
I think that too, and we've had a few cops retire who
Correct.
we've all known for how many years now.
Exactly.
So, for me, because sometimes I'll sit outside at Turtle Beans, I've got to meet a few of the guys. I noticed more walking around now. Yeah, they're really nice young guys.
Yep.
Probably old enough to be my son now. All right, so which department, Public Works, Finance, or Public Safety, would you ideally like to oversee as a commissioner? And what qualifications or experience make you the best fit to manage its day-to-day operations?
Well, I think my record in public safety would make me best qualified for that department. I have a working relationship with the police department and the officers. I know the day-to-day struggles of the fire department because I've lived it for 10 years.
Now, tell everybody, what fire department were you out of?
Hope Hose.
Okay.
I know volunteerism right now is in the decline. So we're both houses are struggling to get membership. So, using my experience to hopefully bridge that gap will help. And I know the Public Safety Task Force that was recently assembled is looking over all of the police, fire, and EMS departments to figure out what's best for us moving forward. That way we're ready when the time comes, and we're not going to be, responding.
Yeah. So what exactly?
Haphazardly.
Yeah. What exactly is the Public Safety Task Force, if people don't know?
So November of 2024, just after the special election, the commissioners created this task force. It's made up of both members of the fire department, members of the police department, our OEM, and the goal is to really, pinpoint where we can improve the road work ahead, the roadway ahead, especially for EMS. I think we have a year or two left on that contract. See what options we have going forward with that, and I think, at least coming from the fire side, I know passions can run high, and I know that you need calm heads and cool heads to, sometimes get things, get people together. That's why when I was president of Hope, I was the first president in quite some time to actually set up regular meetings with the president of Consolidated, just so we can work together, plan things ahead, see where we can, help each other or, and move forward. So.
All right. Well, Ed, is there anything that I didn't ask you or we didn't go over that you'd like to get out there or talk about with residents? Just remember to vote on November 4th. Local elections are, at least in my opinion, the most important elections, because these are the decisions that affect you directly. You'll see these, the policy implementations that we decide on. And if you need to reach out. My contact information is on my website, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys have. And your website again?
FoleyforBordentown.com.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ed.
Thank you,
it's
Brenda.
always a pleasure to sit down with you.
Yes, indeed.
All right. And you enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.